Welcome again, everyone. My name is Tanuj Kalia. I'm the founder of Loctopus and of Loctopus Law School now. Uh, Today, we have with us Ami Dharamshi. She's a company secretary, she's a lawyer, she's a mediator by qualification. She also has an LLM from the University of Hong Kong in ADR, and she runs a beautiful company called Dialogue 10, which is a private mediation practice. So Ami will be sharing a lot of insights and thoughts around mediation and conflict resolution. We also have Mustafa. Um, so Mustafa has helped us develop the online dispute resolution course at Loctopus Law School. And you'll be at the end of the presentation, we'll have an opportunity to hear from Mustafa about how the ODR course can benefit you in your careers, right? With that, Ami, it's over to you. You could start sharing your screen and you could briefly introduce yourself, though I've already done that. Yeah.
Thank you, Tanuj. Thank you, Mustafa. Good evening, everyone. Hi, and welcome to this webinar. Thank you for joining. I'm just going to share screen. Okay, perfect. Here, we are here 22nd October, Thursday of 2020, career and skills and conflict resolution and mediation. So now as I speak, you will see some colorful slides in front of you. So I will try to make my voice nicer, but if not, you can focus on the slides. It will still give you some insights. So a little about me, Tanuj has already said, but I really like in this virtual platform to see where I'm joining from and where are people joining from. So if you're that you're very friendly with the chat box, please write where are you joining from, which city. So I am joining from Bangalore, and my career, my qualification, it started with BCom, specializing in finance. And then I completed my associate company secretary course. I did work as a CS for some time, but then jumped to being an advocate, independent advocate in Bangalore. Um, then I went for my LLM to Hong Kong, that's the Hong Kong University, and that's LLM in arbitration and dispute resolution. And during this LLM, I had a course of mediation. That's where I got trained and accredited as a mediator. So today, now, I am a conflict management professional and a private mediator at my own creative boutique firm, Dialogue Den. And here, I have a page on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and you are also welcome to reach me through email. So yes, our chat box is flooded. And here, that's about me. Let me know you. Who are you? And have you decided your career role matching your skills already? So we are going to have poll up. So please take part in the poll.
Right. I mean, so everyone, we have launched this poll. Please do reply to it, just so that we get to know you and
We have people from Chennai, Kanpur, Vasai is Mumbai, Kushinagar, Uttar Pradesh. We have somebody from Mumbai, Palghar, Mumbai, Satara, Kerala, Shivangi, and Chennai, New Delhi, Haryana, Delhi, Lucknow. This has been my most diverse audience of the lockdown. Pune, Nepal. We have someone from Nepal. Wow, hello, welcome. We have someone from Mangalore, STM Law College. I was in Mangalore, studied in Aloysius College, not law school, Nasik. So do we have the results up? Let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to read Hyderabad, Varanasi.
so I'm just waiting for
Okay,
the
okay,
answers coming.
okay,
We've got
okay. Kolkata, Hyderabad, Odisha, Delhi. Wow. We have people from every place. Bihar,
I request people who have not answered the poll question to please
Pura,
uh,
West Bengal. We have someone from Pakistan, Sialkot. Welcome. Uttar Pradesh, Amravati, Chennai. All right, yes, we have very diverse. I'm from Bangalore. Yes. Okay. Yes, we have our results up. Thank you, Tanuj. Okay, so we have law management psychology students. So our audience is majorly students. And then we also have arbitrator and lawyers. Okay. We don't have mediator. Okay. We don't have party to mediation. So this is going to be new. Good. And we have other, should be my friends. And have you decided your career role matching your skills already? Yes, is good. Yes, I'm trying. Good place. You're in the right place today here. And I need more information. Okay, I hope to give some information. I'm not sure yet, and I'm exploring new career roles. So yes, thank you so much. And I'm going to close this result. All right. Yes. So thank you for your answers. I know you and you know me, so we're going to enjoy this journey for 1 hour now. So today, what we'll talk about is understand what we mean by term conflict first, and then understand the role of a conflict management or a conflict resolution professional, know a little about mediation, explore skills, and in the end, we'll do some reflections. And you are welcome to ask questions. And we have specific question and answer round and time. So maybe you can park your questions, and then once we get there, you can ask your questions through chat box or maybe unmute yourself and ask. So
Sorry to interrupt you, but whatever request is, if you have any questions, please put it on the Q&A box, not on the chat box. So
okay,
at
it's
the bottom
Q&A.
of your screen, you will see two options. One is the chat box. Chat box is for usual chatting. Q&A box is for question and answers. So please park your questions on the Q&A box, and we'll try to address as many as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for that, Kawa. So first we'll understand what is conflict. So I have some key words here: disagreement, problem, dispute, violence, and war. And you also see a ladder over here on the right hand side. So we are going to go very slowly and understand with this presentation, with this particular slide, you're going to add more information to this slide and understand about conflict and conflict resolution professional, about the career in conflict resolving. Here, so what is disagreement? It is just that I ask for a yes, you give me a no, that's it, we disagree, and we have a disagreement with us, within us. And okay, thank you for all the chats here. I am getting a lot of notification, but I'm going to keep continuing here, and then we'll reach uh, dedicated time space for question and answer also. All right. So with this disagreement, we can have a situation which is a difference and a quarrel, and we call that a problem. So with this disagreement and with the problem, if you add legal implications to this situation, we call it a dispute. Now, to this dispute, add a little bit of emotional and mental disturbance, and that is where we have escalation from dispute to a violence. Now, violence will also have physical force, which you again add and escalate, and then in the end is a very big thing, war. You see, WAR is the smallest word here, but the most heaviest word on the slide. So we start with disagreement just by yes or no. Then we have a situation. Then we add legal implications to it. And then there are emotional, mental energies being involved, troubled. Then we have physical force now that thanks to COVID, we can't have physical force on others. We can only have it with ourselves. But yes, that's violence. And then we have war when we have political influence involved. So this basically is called continuum of tension. Now we are understanding conflict. So at what level, at which stage do we call it as conflict? It's here. It's here. Adding emotional and mental disturbance to a legal or maybe a non-legal dispute as well. We're talking about a problem, disagreement, problem, dispute, maybe legal or non-legal. But once you add emotional and mental disturbance to it, it escalates to what we call as conflict. And yes, we're going good. So I have some words here. Disagreement can be me and you, Problem can be problem solver, legal expert and lawyer for dispute, and conflict expert for violence, peacemaker for war. So we're sticking to the theme today, that is career and the skills. So first we understand what is conflict and then know the career roles here and then understand the skills. I have a question for you all. So now think, if you have or wish to learn the ability to manage or simply resolve a disagreement, problem, dispute, conflict, or a war. You could use chat box and reply, but your answers are going to be yes, no, maybe, I'm thinking. The question is, if you already have, if you have identified, or these topics are quite interesting for you and you're thinking, you're wishing to learn the ability to manage or simply resolve a disagreement, problem, conflict, or a war. Yes, yes, wish to learn. Yes, wish to learn, wish to learn. Yes, a lot of people, yes, 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 have figured out. Okay, good. So these are your skills. What we're talking about, this question was raised for you to know that what you're thinking, that you have the ability or you're willing to learn this ability to not let a disagreement escalate to problem and then dispute and go ahead to war. So that is about it. When you decide that you're going to take this task and you're going to work for the task, that's your ability. And you, this ability, skills are nothing but abilities to do a task. And this is also being a conflict resolution professional, not letting things escalate, but it's not in your control. If things escalate, are you able to manage and be there present by yourself to resolve? That's the question. And now here, I will say, relate all these topics to the ladder. So when you're a disagreement or a problem, 2 steps high, it's easy to jump off. It's easy to get down. It's easy to, it's not going to be that tough for you. But when you go higher, when the things escalate, dispute, conflict, or you go on the last one, the war, things get a little more complicated. So you might need a little bit more skills uh, to get down from the last step, that is war. But yes, this is what it is. Now, as you're looking at the screen and thinking about what I've put here, so many colors, so much information, I would like to bring your attention to this point that everything we talk about here today is about a human person and people, and it's about what's in the mind. We do have conflicts with our environment and other natural resources, many other things, but we're talking about human conflicts today. I hope this has helped you understand what is conflict and where the conflict stands in the escalation model. And this is all scientifically called, named as continuum of tension, how it raises up. Yes, so these are your skills, your ability to do a task. Now, for a moment, whatever be the specific skills, let's explore where do we learn or acquire our skills from. And can you guess these images? What are these images? Graduation, yes, okay. I think books and some discussion. Yeah, some discussion and books, yes. Observation, um, I'm not sure which image are you talking about. Observation, transformation, not sure which image. Travels, yes, reading. Butterfly and caterpillar, yes, but what does it say? University, communication, aviation, yes. So I took the liberty of putting these free images over here. Growth, evolution, connectivity. I didn't think of these words. I am learning something from this webinar also. International dispute, okay. Butterfly and caterpillar is growth. Creativity, okay. So here, so the butterfly is, yes, like you said, life, how we emerge, our life journey. And yes, this is travel over here. And we have books. You said graduation. I've put the word degrees. And then the last one I read that you said conversation, communications, and I've put dialogues here. So I would take the liberty of saying this in this year, especially now that I have so many students here. It's good to say that the webinars, certificate, degrees, courses, school will educate you with the information, tools, and techniques. But it is for you to identify your own personal skills and match it well with your career role, whatever career role you choose. Match your personal skills with it. Now, why I put this is not a spiritual topic over here, but as a conflict resolving professional and as a private mediator or say mediator, this is where I get my skills from. All these places, all these places. This is where I have earned my skills from. And I've earned the information, tools, and techniques. But, the books give us some knowledge, but you need to have the skill of applying that knowledge. Now, that is up to you how you develop it and how you master it. First, for that, you need to identify your skill. Okay. But yes, a little bit general topic, but let's focus. So, you must be knowing about these terms. We have many methods of resolving disputes. Okay. We have litigation, arbitration, conciliation, mediation here, and negotiation on the screen. 5 picked up topics here on the screen because this is the most uh, talked about methods here right now. So, how do we connect this to dispute resolution and conflict resolution? Here. So, dispute resolution, when we're talking about these methods of resolving disputes, what we do as in dispute resolution, our role is to assist with the process as an individual professional, be a lawyer, arbitrator, conciliator, mediator, or negotiator. So, your role is as an individual professional who is assisting with the process. Now, how is it different with conflict resolution? In conflict resolution, our role is more deep rooted and goes beyond assisting with the process. We plan, manage the entire dispute resolution process, then be it single, multi-tiered, or spontaneous choice. Now, what these last 3 words mean is sometimes people choose only litigation as their dispute resolution method. Or sometimes people would choose mediation and litigation, or they would choose mediation or arbitration. So these are multi-tiered dispute resolution clauses. So whatever is chosen, once you are in the scene, you just act as an individual professional. That is, you're helping them, assisting them resolve dispute. But as a conflict resolution person, you're going a level up, and then helping them decide which method, which dispute resolution method to choose, which to apply. Do you have the window of applying all these methods when the time comes, when the time arises, when the problem arises? Do you have the choice? Do you have the choice of applying any of these at that moment? Or have you already chosen only litigation and you're only going with that? Or have you chosen only mediation and going? So, all of this planning is conflict resolution or conflict management, what we can say. So, I have some example or a scenario to quote here. So, dispute resolution, it mostly happens when the problem arises or escalates. So, what you are doing in this role is following the dispute resolution clause, which is already being entered and what is there in the agreements and contracts. So, any agreement and contract you come across, go to the last section and check. There's a heading dispute resolution clause. So, what has been entered in this dispute? What has been agreed and what has been entered into this dispute resolution clause? So, as a dispute resolution person, you're going to follow what is written. But as a conflict resolution person, you are there with the person from day one, with the decision, not even the person, the decision, the agreement from day one. And you help them, you assist them decide this dispute resolution clause. What is going to happen when we have problem? When we have, so the dispute resolution clause might go something like this, that when, if we have problem, we are going to first negotiate with each other in good faith, or we are going to bring a third person or third neutral person as a mediator who can help us resolve dispute, or this pick up if mediation doesn't work, and then we're going to go to the litigation. So this is kind of a decision to make which goes into the dispute resolution clause. Now this is not simply picking up any of methods because it's cheap or because it's fast or because this doesn't have appeal, other one has appeal. No, It's mostly understanding the nature of the work, understanding the nature of agreement and contract, and then deciding. Not all the agreements are going to be favorable for the person who's entering agreement if you just add mediation work. So not all, similarly for litigation also. So all this decision work, what you do is the role of a conflict resolution person or a professional, I can say. So I want to share something personal for me. Okay, we have so many messages here. Um, my life, very own life journey, travels and dialogues with people from different culture and tradition, principles, values, I believe, all together in blend with my professional degrees have helped me further paint my path to creating dialogue then. So why am I here? Like at what level? So when I started with my BCom and then did my LLB, then company secretary, but now I have very different space, my own space where I'm working as a or practicing as a conflict resolution professional or a private mediator. So these are my interests, which have now become my skills. And with my professional degrees, I have tried my best to master my skills, and I keep trying. So it's a everyday journey. So first thing I would say is languages is very important because as a conflict resolution or a dispute resolution or as a mediator, you are talking to people. That's your job, that's your work. When you're in the room talking to so many people, it's about languages, and creating a bond with languages is easier. So learn as many as languages. I have learned 6, 7, 8 languages, and I'm learning more. So it has been my interest, but now it turns out to be my skill as a mediator. And critical thinker, since childhood, I've been a critical thinker. Now I'm sharing with you how I identified my skills. So when you're listening to me, it's nice to listen and listen to my journey. But as much as you listen, focus and reflect on your journey and how you can identify your own skills to be a mediator. Critical thinker, I say, because when someone just gets angry on me, then my first response would can be that why are you angry? I have to be angry at you, yeah. Or the second response can be, okay, the person just got angry on me. I need to sit back and think why. The question why, how, what, all of these questions. If you are thinking, if you're responding in this way, you are also a critical thinker like me. And yes, I've always wanted to be my own boss. So the space of dialogue then lets me be me. And yes, I'm my own boss here. That was my interest, and now I'm turning it into my skill because it needs discipline. It needs a lot of patience and practice to be your own boss also. Listen with calmness. So when I had this interest of listening stories, I realized that I have been a good listener. I listen, and I like to listen. But when I decided to be, take the journey of a mediator, professional degrees and courses have taught me how to professionally listen. It's not just listening, but it's about active listening, so that the next step you can or you are able to organize. Now, organize is I put files over here, but yes, it's about files. It starts from there, it starts from your room. But we're talking about organizing thoughts and information, what you listen. Can you organize it in proper way? You get a lot of information when you're talking to a person who is undergoing a conflict or a problem. That person is going to tell you one problem in 50 different ways, same problem, but then when you're analyzing the whole information, it's just one problem. But are you able to listen, take that information and organize it properly? So that's one skill, um, I think, which has helped me as a mediator. And my another skill, now it has become a good asset for me, is self reflection. Am I able to self reflect my own journey, self reflect on the steps I took in the first mediation so that I can be better in the next mediation? So that's about self reflection. And creating an innovating, this has been my interest. Now I want to be creative in my workspace, but I'm not an artist, I'm not a painter. But every dispute, every conflict, every problem coming at the doorstep of Dialogue 10 lets me be creative and innovative, because the way I carry out one process of mediation for one set of people may not be same. May not no, will never be same for the next dispute or conflict or problem story. So even when somebody is asking how experienced are you in mediation, I say depends on your problem. Yeah. If you're saying you have a friendship problem, I'm going to say I'm super experienced as a mediator, because I have been resolving friendship problems since I have friends. That is my childhood. But if you say that, okay, corporate issue and then that mediating, of course, the experience changes. So, yes, that's about creating and innovating, a little bit about that. Then, the very dear thing to my heart is service. So, through being mediator, I have felt that I have somewhere contributed to towards transforming lives, which I didn't really feel when I was just a lawyer or just a lawyer following the process. Remember, you can always be a lawyer and mediator together. So, but when I was a lawyer practicing as an advocate, I found myself following a process. But when I decided to level up and be a conflict resolution professional and a private mediator, I felt I was giving myself to the process and giving my time, energy. So it's like a service which I enjoy now. So why I'm sharing all this is each one of us has different kind of lifestyle, different kind of journey, different degrees, and different interests and passions. So it's better we identify our own skills, our own interests, and then apply it to the career role you choose. All of it is going to help you be a conflict resolution professional, because it's all about resolving conflicts, resolving problems. Yes, so we are here. Yes, so we are here. Recap. Um, what we just read. I've put everything in one slide so you don't forget and get carried away. So the first slide is we understood conflict. At least we tried. Okay, with the time, I took 1 year to do my LLM and understand what is conflict, and I'm still learning. But with this time, I'll say at least we tried, and then we got a clarification on how conflict is different than dispute resolution. Then the skills. Where do you get the skills from? And about my skills, which have let me be the conflict resolving professional and a private mediator. So this is our very quick recap. Okay, so we are here. Do you have any questions for me? Feel free to ask. But we have some questions here already.
So, Ami, in the Q&A box, we've got a lot of questions about how do you get professionally qualified as a mediator?
Okay,
Would you
yes.
talk about it in the next slide, or do you want to take it right now?
How do you professionally qualify as a mediator? I can just briefly say, how do you qualify as a professional mediator? So, yes, everyone thinks that we can mediate, but it's better to have professional skills and training and accreditation. So, look around you. The global standard is acceptable standard right now. What is set is the 40-hour mediation training. So, do the 40-hour mediation training and finish the clear the assessments, get yourself accredited, and after that it's better. In this 40-hour mediation you might just learn the techniques and the methods and know about mediation process. Find a mediator, senior mediator, be a mediation mentee with that mediator, get some experience, and then start being mediator.
So, Ami, in terms of getting this 40-hour training, are there like what type of accreditation takes place, or how does that work?
Yes, so when I started off this journey, we didn't have much of 40-hour mediation training or even a LLM course or a LLB course, like a proper LLB mediation course here. we just have like ADR subject, that's not sufficient. So you must go for this 40-hour training. I went to Hong Kong, but now what I see is there are a lot of institutes here in India, and there are virtual platforms which provide this training. So look around which fits well for you, pick that up, and then take the training. If
Right.
and yeah, so there are quite some, and some. One thing I would say, some are given by Indian institutes, and some you see are mostly given by the arbitration and mediation institutes, which are in Singapore or Hong Kong or London. So, but you need to, one thing I would say is you need to check what kind of mediation training you want to get: commercial mediation, family mediation, or general mediation training. And after that training, you will have an assessment which you have to go through. You have to actually mediate. So once you clear that, you'll get accredited. That's what I can say. But yeah, if I'm not being clear, you can narrow down the questions more, and I'll try to answer.
Yeah, so Shivangi Zarkar, she's asking about which institutions give 40-hour training. Uh,
Which
and
institute? Okay.
Vanshita is asking, uh, after graduation, do we have to take any entrance exam or other exam for the 40-hour training? And similarly, Meghna, who's our student as well, she's asking, would you suggest an LLM in dispute resolution as a whole or LLM in mediation? So if you could tell us about these questions.
So I think these questions are your personal choices. How you want your career role to be. Do you want to only be a mediator? Then go for LLM for mediation. Yes. Do you want to be what was the other one? The dispute resolution. You want to know all the methods. I chose to know litigation, arbitration, mediation. So I did my LLB and then went for LLM in arbitration, where I learned A to Z of arbitration. Yes, and then I also completed my mediation course, then chose to be a mediator. So but I also do consultancy for all three because I know all of them. I know how all of it works: domestic disputes and also international. So my LLM abroad brought the perspective for international disputes as well. So now you pick up your career role and choose the most appropriate course which helps your career, how you want to be, what career you want to practice.
Exactly.
And about, sorry, yes.
Amy, if I may please add one point over here. So, to the point of what you said, of you first need to determine which field do you want to, become a mediator in. Do you want to take up commercial mediation? Do you want to take up family mediation, mediation around family disputes? So that's the question, right? Say when you decide on taking up a career as a transactional lawyer, or when you decide on taking up a career as a litigator, you do not attend a session and then decide what do you want to do. You find out that session is to perhaps trigger your interest in that, then you discover more about that space, experience those things by yourself. So perhaps say, I saw some people asking about ODR in the chat box, right? So it's
Okay.
not that you directly go and then start getting the accreditation for to become a professional mediator. You first understand what are the various opportunities, what are alternate dispute resolution processes in the first place, and then decide whether you want to be a mediator and then what kind. So I would always recommend that you invest 1 or 2 months in understanding, having a foundational understanding about the space, and then ask these questions of, okay, should I get an accreditation right now, with from which institute and in which space. So that is something that is more advisable, rather than just deciding on, okay, which institute to get a accreditation from, because these accreditations are not, they do not come cheap. These courses are really expensive, right? They run into 50,000, 80,000 lakhs of rupees. So it shouldn't be a decision that should come as easy.
So I think our next presentation, like as we go, it'll be more clearer for them to decide on which role. Yeah, everyone dreams to be a mediator and is a law school student. And now that we have compulsory mediation course, now what is happening? I want to be a mediator. So maybe if we understand how many roles are being played in one mediation process, you can decide which role you want to pick and then pick your courses better. Yeah. I think that will help.
So one more question, Ami. So Harita is asking, is private mediation legally allowed in India?
Okay, this is a good question. Um, it's not illegal, I will say. I've been a lawyer, I know how to answer. I will say no, it's not illegal, it's your choice. So in case you were a normal person, you have full choice, full freedom. It's your right to resolve your problem in private, to bring in a mediator and resolve your problem or dispute or conflict. Even if it's a legal dispute, it's okay. It's fully legal to call in a private person, private qualified, trained, accredited mediator to resolve the problem for you. Yes. But if your question, also, I will add another point which you didn't ask, that what happens to the decision in private mediation? Yes. So sometimes people don't, people just come and bring in a mediator, solve, settle, finish, happy, bye, go back home, friends together. But there is other chance when things get a little more paperwork, corporate, and if there is an agreement, which there is a solution which people want to write down on a paper. If you depends on what paper are you going to write down. Are you going to write it like a in the form of agreement or contract? Then you as a lawyer should know that this can be recognized under the Indian Contract Act because it's a contract, it's an agreement. So if that helps you clarify a little bit more from the legal perspective. Exactly.
Right, Ami. Final question, maybe before we move ahead. Gaurav is asking, how can mediation be more effective?
Okay, let's say litigation. All right. Okay. So there are a lot of methods. Okay. Now, when we have a problem, put yourself in those shoes of problem. What do you like? Do you want to sit together, collaboratively work with each other and solve it? Because that's a problem. And if you're a business person, you really need to solve that problem. You don't want to fight over that problem. Yes. So litigation is not bad. I'm not saying mediation is better than litigation, but it's a added layer of problem solving. We are all here. We are going to the courts. Why? Because we are not able to solve problem. But have you tried solving problem in mediation first? If you can't solve, go to the court, or if you can solve, remember the courts are here, to give us service. So it's not that litigation is bad, but yes, it's a added layer of problem solving. And I'm sure you would, if you are put into that situation for your company, or if you are the employer and then your employee wants to sue you, then you would rather say, okay, let's talk in private, maybe let's try to bring a solution. Or even if it's a family matter, you don't want to go to the public court at first. You can try private mediation, or you can try mediation, then go to the court if things don't work. Escalation of problem.
Right. Ami, I think we can now continue with the presentation.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the questions. I hope my answers give you some insights to go and think about the exact answer you wish to have for your question. Thank you for the question. So we are here. We understood what we mean by conflict. At least we tried. Then we understood the role of conflict management or a conflict resolution professional. Let's know about mediation. A lot of questions came for mediation. So I think this section might make things more clear. So just jumping in here. What exactly is mediation? What are the career roles in mediation? So a mediation journey will most often be a multi-party, multi-role playing journey. And we will find ourselves collaborating with many people at once in the same room. This is what happens in a mediation journey, in a mediation process, or a mediation performance. I can use all these words. So it's multi-party and multi-role playing. And we find ourselves collaborating with many people at once in the same room. So who are these people here? First one, of course, yes, mediator. So can be individual mediator or can be co-mediators. And the role of mediator changes on the type of mediation, what is happening over there. This can be mediating as a facilitative mediator. So you're just facilitating the whole process for them. Or you can be an evaluative mediator, wherein you listen to the information and then you analyze and you think, you evaluate and give them the potential solutions. Or you can be playing a role of a transformative mediator where you're actually transforming the whole situation with your wisdom, knowledge, and skills. You're not only giving them potential solutions, but you're transforming. So these are different kind of mediation processes. Now, what kind of mediator are you? Which role fits well for you is something to think about. And then next, we have counsel in the mediation room, in the mediation process. This counsel can be an in-house counsel or an external counsel or even simply a subject matter legal advisor. So what is their role? What is the counsel's role in the mediation process? Is advising. And mostly the counsel, mostly no, 100%. Counsel is the representative of parties. Is there as a representative. So once you are representative or representing somebody, your authority is not full in the mediation room. You're just representing there and you're advising. Your advice may be taken or may not be taken. So we call it a proxy authority. So you can be a counsel or parties. Then we have parties in the mediation room. Of course, there's two or more always. There's no one party mediation. No, one party mediation becomes either intake or intake session or becomes a pre-mediation counseling or becomes a normal counseling. So there are in mediation, there are always two or more parties. Now these two or more parties can be individual, can be in the form of company, or can also be a non-profit organization. What's the role of the parties is deciding. They are the one, parties are the one who decide. See, mediator is mediating, counsel is advising, parties are deciding. And sometimes parties can be representative. When we talk about company, not all the time board of directors are going to sit there in the mediation and talk. They're going to send a HR professional if they have workplace disputes. So they can be representatives, but yes, their authority is full. Unlike the council, the party's authority is full. Then we have others. Others can be family members. Yes, sometimes family members come into the mediation room. We have technical experts like financial advisor or maritime expert, I can say, or the subject matter expert. Then we have mentees. Once you finish the 40-hour course, you might want to think what we say in the legal language, a lawyer fraternity is the interns. In mediation, we use this word mentees. So they can also be in the room, and the role of these others is very wide. Opinions, advising, some of them will just, like I said, financial advisor will just come in to give a statistical report on some topic. That is, if they are invited to. And these can be guest appearances. Now, you can also be a technical expert and play a role in the mediation process. So it's these so many people in one room. I'll read it again. A mediation performance will most often be a multi-party, multi-role playing performance. We will find ourselves collaborating with many people at once in the same room. So this is a very quick gist of mediation process and how many career roles are possible in mediation process. Here. And to these career roles, let's talk about the skills. I split it into common skills and master skills here. So common skills applies equally to all the people involved in the conflict resolution and a mediation process, irrespective of individual role. So if you just want to be a counsel, if you want to be a lawyer or a technical expert or a subject matter expert, the common skills which you must have, which you must develop, identify, and master is communication, problem solving. Yes, we are talking about problem and solving. So, yes, this skill is important for all of them. Also, the parties, cultural. If you can respect, accept other cultures, then you have cultural skills. Soft skills, we know these. So these are the common skills everyone must have in a mediation room for a mediation to succeed. But a mediator, so some might be a lot of people here who want to be mediators. So these are the master skills which you must have as a mediator in addition to the common skills, that is facilitating, writing, rephrasing, and sorting. And each topic takes a few hours or months for you to learn. and then practice and then master. So, but these are the skills basically, and these are the skills which have helped me to be this professional, to be in this career. So I've done enough talking. We have a poll question. If we can have this poll question facilitated, should mediator be expert in legal drafting skills? Yes, perhaps some basic knowledge is required. No, not really necessary. And once we have answers, I will share what I have learned through my experience.
73% people have answered, so I'm waiting for the.
Okay.
Maybe
That's
I
fair.
can.
Okay. Are they thinking, should you have this skill, or do you want to have this skill with yourself? Legal drafting, we're not talking about normal drafting, general drafting, we're talking about legal drafting. So we have 40% yes. Okay. So I think our audience is flooded with law students. They'll say, yes, mediator should have expertise in legal drafting. Perhaps some basic knowledge is required, is what I am with, 45%. No, not really necessary. So initially, even I am a law qualified person who have practiced as an advocate and have become mediator now. So initially, even I thought that legal drafting skills are quite important and very necessary, and without this, it's a course, that mandatory course to be a mediator. But with my experience, I would say it's about writing. Okay, we don't use mostly the legal terms in drafting, and there is a way of collaborative way of writing in legal drafting mostly. Okay, if let's not speak about legal drafting, but I would say perhaps yes, you need some knowledge, that I have realized, because when you have um, legal disputes to mediate, non-legal disputes, okay, you don't need, absolutely no need of legal drafting skills. But if you have legal disputes, you must have knowledge about legal drafting, some basic knowledge, so you can read the documents. You can read and familiarize yourself with documents. No, not really necessary. Yeah, but it's better to have some basic knowledge, because if you want to take up legal disputes also as for mediation, then it's better to have. It has helped me to have basic knowledge. It has helped. I have had friends who perform very well as mediators, but whose career choice, main primary career, is being a psychologist. So they have to invite a lawyer to translate the documents or to interpret the documents, which I don't need. So I reduce the cost of the lawyer in the process. Yes, if you want to be a mediator, get some basic knowledge about legal drafting. Yes, we can go to the next poll question. Is patience a skill? Now in previous slide, okay, we can have the poll up as I speak. So in the previous slide, we read about common skills and then master skills. So where do you want the patience to be? Where do you see patience skill? Common skill? Is it a master skill? Simply yes, no, or did I confuse you? Chances. Don't worry for your answers to be right or wrong, because it's just we are sharing experience, what you think and what I think, and what has worked in my experience. So we're just sharing. Oh, yes, it's a master skill. Yes, of course, absolutely. 58% says, okay, we have one person who's confused. One person says no. Okay. Yes, 58% say it's a master skill. Yes, it's a master skill, and mediators should have the skill of patience, and you can develop this over time. But I also think, as much as it is master skill, it is also a common skill. If everyone cannot keep patience in a mediation room, mediation process breaks down very easily. So it's a skill, it's an ability of mediator to have patience and also learn to maintain and create that safe environment in the mediation room, so that everyone can develop patience as a skill in this process. So yes, So, year 2020, this has been a mighty year for all of us. Now that we speak about so many things, let's talk about year 2020 and what I have done. So, why I'm sharing this is initially when I started Dialogue Then, or I wanted to be a mediator, I qualified as an advocate, completed my mediation training, got accredited. I only wanted to mediate. I want to only mediate. Okay, what's my work? Mediate. I really want to sit and start mediating all the cases. And but this year has let me sit down at home and then think. So my very personal sharing, it has been a DIY year, do it yourself. So I have learned writing blogs, and I learned WordPress, that is creating website. I learned making visuals and designs. I also picked up some skills on software, the online dispute resolution, what to do. Now I wanted to only mediate and not be on my laptop. But then this year I have to learn how to be on my laptop and also mediate through my laptop. I had no chance. I had to learn. And these are my skills now. I'm learning. And network, virtual network. This also I consider is skill. We have this term introverts and extroverts, but it won't work now if you just sit by yourself at home. So you need to network, meet more people in a virtual platform. And it's very important, if you want to be a mediator, work on your profile. That is the reach. It's very important. So I have some image here, virtual profile. I created a website by myself, and I learned quite a things while creating this website, and I could explain my work better as a mediator. Virtual network, yes, that has brought me here. So this webinar, it's all about virtual networking. And you also need to pick up skills of digital marketing and creative marketing. That is because when I came here, started Dialogue Then, 2 years, 1 year, everyone says, no, no, India mein nahi chalega. We don't have the culture of mediation. We don't understand what is mediation. So now we need to take efforts to explain what is mediation to people and make it available. So the best way I have found is the colors and the art to give out a message. So if you go on my page, I have tried to use my a little bit of artistic skills to give out the message of mediation. So it'll be beneficial if you pick up that skill. And you are all creative. You don't have to pick up my creatives. You are all creative in your own ways, so you can start using that for marketing your own roles. Virtual selling is quite important skill, which I am also learning now. Verbal and writing, yes. Physical mediation, if someone is quite tensed and anxious, I would just, it's okay, it's going to be fine. We could do this, or we could shake hands. But now it's all about your voice, it's all about your face, your talking, your verbal, and also your writing skills. Can you make people work collaboratively with you with your writing and verbal skills? You need to think and develop this skill and this ability. And this is one thing which I have learned and I'm learning and I'm mastering. Learn to take a no. As a mediator, you are not suggesting. Yes, you're not suggesting, you're not giving advice. Even if you are, you will receive a lot of no's. So are you able to take that no? Because as a mediator, you have to take what the parties are giving, what the people are giving you. Then how to turn it to a yes, or how to keep it as a nice no. Prettier full stop is what my professor says. Can we help them? Can we help people in the same room put a prettier full stop? If they want to put a full stop, is fine. Can we make it nicer? So also learn to take no, and all of it from home. This I don't need to elaborate. All of these skills, uh, I had to do it from home, and it has been quite good. Has been a journey in itself. So this is right time, and everything starts when you're a student. So it's not necessary that you have some experience of 10 years or 15 years. No, it all starts today, just today. After this webinar, all of your skills you identify and start working on them. If you want to be a mediator, pick up those mediator skills. That's about it. So with this information about conflict resolution and mediation, the career roles and the skills, I want to share a little bit of what I have at my firm at Dialogue Then, how I design my services. Now, when you're joining for a mediation course, you might be thinking, should I be a family mediator? Should I be a workplace or a business mediator, corporate mediator, commercial mediator? There can be different terms. But in my experience or my learning, I'd say my learning has been mediation process, and the role of mediator remains the same. You need to, of course, polish and change according to the problem you receive to fit into that scenario in the room there. If whether it's a family dispute, workplace, of course, the skills are a little different. In family, you must want to uh, master empathy skills, which can be put on the side, and financial skills might be much working better in business mediation. So that is how you route. I have kept all three: family, workplace, and business. The first is services conflict management, where you can see a lot of words: arbitration, mediation, negotiation, litigation. So, because I know all of these and I know how to apply them in the domestic disputes and international disputes, if you learn all of these, then you can advise your client as to what to do. If they are trading international commercial trade, then which dispute resolution is good? Is mediation still good? Or they could go for a international arbitration, but then should you add mediation before arbitration? With arbitration is a question. So that's all about conflict management that comes as a package service. And then if people choose, when there is problem, if they choose mediation, if they choose private mediation, that's another service. That's a expertise. Now you remember there was one slide where there was dispute resolution, conflict resolution, and the 5 methods of dispute resolution. So I picked up my expertise in private mediation. I've been all of the roles, but I picked my expertise is private mediation. And I think a lot of decisions of private mediation, whether to decide it's legal or illegal, comes from what we have agreed on paper. So it was quite important for me to start drafting paper in a way that I educate that you can always add mediation in your clause. So when you see drafting, there are 2 images. One is dispute resolution clause, which goes in to all the agreements and contracts from day one, and the other one is standalone dispute resolution agreement. Now here, yes, I agree that you need to have some legal basic legal knowledge or basic legal drafting skills, so you could provide, be the support for drafting also. So these are the services that I designed, and if you want some more information on what these are, go to the website, and the whole process with the visuals is pasted there. Should be easy.
Sorry, so Meghna has a question. Could we know about the success Ms. Ami has had since she set up Dialogue 10? What are the future prospects for private mediation practices in India?
Can you repeat? Sorry, can you
So
repeat?
Meghna is asking, can we know about what sort of success you have had, since you have started Dialogue 10? And
Okay.
what are the future prospects for private mediation practices in India? So from a career, from a professional point of view, how do you
Right.
see this?
Yes. So, okay, let me start. Day one, when I came here and I said I'll start private mediation, even my mom didn't agree. She's like, you have been a lawyer, you've been an arbitrator. What's this service? How are you going to have a business? How are you going to have a profession in this? People don't understand. They don't know about this service. How are they going to avail it? This is the biggest question I tried to solve, and it has been going good. Today I'm addressing 93. There were 100 people here. So 100 people know about private mediation now. The word is going to spread. So the future prospect is really good. It just proves here. More people know about this service. They know how to avail. They will avail. Now, as a professional, uh, how it has one very dear to my heart example I would give. It's a little sensitive, but I could say that to answer you closely, that there was there was a issue, there was a simple problem between a husband and wife, but the problem was not that serious that they hire themselves a lawyer. And if one of them also went to a lawyer, it would be like a start of sword fight from that person. So they were so confused, but somebody referred them to Dialogue Den and private mediation. And the person did the whole research about mediation, and he thought that it's a counseling. And then he came, but I had to make it very clear that it's not counseling, it's not couple counseling, but then this can help you. So the problem was not that serious that they went to a lawyer and file a legal case. But there was problem, but they didn't want counseling. They had their own solutions. So when we spoke today, the couple took more time. They bought more time before filing anything in the court, and they have an interim solution for their lives. So they are taking some time off and thinking, because in mediation they got a lot of questions about their own life clarified. Now I don't have a solution for them. What I had was questions. As a mediator, what I had was questions, and I had to bring them out from that box to another box to think creatively. Be creative and innovative in the options. They didn't think of those solutions. We as a mediator have to help them think. You can really transform lives. Now this one, I take it as a success story because they are happy. Now yes, that's it. If they are not happy, even if they are going, I also had this response which I want to share in extension of the same story, that even if they are not happy, they will file a legal case. At least they will put a prettier full stop, because things are already discussed and agreed on in private mediation. So I see this has been a good cherry on the cake for what I'm very happy. I sleep with a very nice smile and very happy with the work. We spoke so much about mediation process and about different roles, but who can be a mediator? One who is patient listener. Yes. Sometimes I feel, when you say anyone, I just think of my dad who tries to be a mediator between me and my mom when we fight. I don't welcome him, but lawyer, advocate, dispute related. Okay, dispute related. No, sure. Negotiation skills, agreed. Industry experts, lawyer turned mediators. Okay, this answer just went up. Yeah, persons with right kind of scientific communication. Okay, good. I just used the chat box to know that you're listening to me or no. Okay, the audience is listening. So I have some answers here. Lawyer, arbitrator, negotiator, they can be mediators. Company secretary, nobody used this, but as a company secretary, I know I have been two kinds of mediator. One is the internal mediator in the company with the board of directors, CFO, the team leads, and everyone. I've been mediating between all of these professionals in the company. And external, as a company secretary, I am as a compliance guru in that company. So I have to follow the rules and regulations put up by the government, published by the government. And then I have to also communicate that with my company. So I've been mediating that way also. I think it's mediation, yes. So company secretary, yes. Teachers, yes. Peer mediation is what we have in the school, peer mediation course. And teachers have always find in a position of mediating between students. HR professionals, yes. Engineers. Now, why engineers here? Because when we have some issue of construction, nobody wants a lawyer to mediate. They actually want an engineer to mediate and start speaking the language of engineer. So engineers can also be mediators. Psychologists and psychotherapists, just that they have to avoid giving advices and potential solutions or opinions, or I can't even, as a mediator, I can't even say go for anger management. That becomes giving direction. So as a facilitative mediator, I can't do that. But yes, they can also pick up the skill of mediating. Then we have divorce therapists who can also, because they are into couple counseling, they're talking to both the people in the same room. So they can also level up being mediators. Subject matter expert, yes. Artist, if we are mediating a dispute on a painting, then a painter would add the emotional value as mediator. Then if I am a painter, I would rather say I know how much energy and time you put into this painting. So this way I can make myself valuable. And then sports person. Sports is a very uh, you know is a topic in itself. My thesis was sports arbitration and mediation. So if it interests any of you, you must go back and research on sports arbitration and mediation, and you will know. So I have been a swimmer all my life. Now that's my interest, and that's how I picked up sports and the legal issues, legal disputes relating to sports, and then connected it to mediation. So my thesis was sports mediation. So you also can connect. So all of them can be mediator. But anyone can be mediation. Yes, okay, anyone can be mediator, but you can mediate better if you have the skills, you have the proper role for mediation, and get trained and get those additional skills, master skills. So, yes, that's about it. So, one valuable advice I built my career on, and I want to share. It might sound a little poetic and emotional, but I think it has helped me. So, I will share it here. Life is a journey from A to B, and your career is also a journey from A to B. Choose a career which matches your skills, interests, and passion. Choose a career you would love to eat your food from for the rest of your life. So that's the career, and I'm loving my work. I love my work. And I had to take so many years to analyze the skills, interest, and passion and match it to my professional degrees. And I'm still learning. So, yes, all the best to you guys as well with a good career. And yes, thank you. For more information on Dialogue Den and the services, you are welcome to visit my website, www.dialogueden.com. I also have a page on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So you are most welcome to follow the pages on these platforms. And that's it. Yes. Do you have any questions for me specifically, or we could use some time for reflection? Or we could do reflection after questions as well.
Yeah, Ami, so there are some questions. One is around the arbitration and conciliation clause. So do you see these sort of clauses for mediation as well, or do you advise people in getting such a clause in their agreements?
Okay, so I analyze the whole. So when we talking about people, it can be an artist, can be individual, it can be private company, or it can be startup group, can be NGO. So depending on the nature, then I give them all the options. First, I educate them with all the options, saying these are the ways, these are the dispute resolution models available. Plus, according to law, what is the pro and con of each dispute resolution model, and then let them think what which one they prefer, what is going to happen when there is problem, and they have something in their agreement already. And if they ask me for advice, and then depending on the space they have, then I try to advise them which is good, mediation, litigation, or both, multi-tier dispute resolution clause. It's different each time, but this is the process I follow.
Right. Akshat is asking, is there any chance to intern under you, ma'am?
Intern with me?
Yeah.
Okay. I usually call them as mentees. Uh, okay, it depends. My way of working is a little unconventional, and you should talk to the mentees who have been with me before to decide finally to be working with me or no. And my first question will be, how do you want to be interning with me? Because now it's everything is so online and virtual, and what I don't do, what I strictly don't do is don't bring a non-trained person who wants to learn mediation into a mediation room, because when we had physical settings, mediations were more it's happening in the room. We have to create bond, and I bring we call fly on the wall. It's easier to create bond. Virtual setting, we already are in the process of solving a lot of confidentiality, privacy issues, and that's why we don't bring an intern into the private mediation. But it depends. Very exclusive cases can be done. Other way to intern, one of my mentees was very interested to learn drafting skills. So we did a research on the ADR clauses. So now we have like 100 plus ADR clauses, a book. We have a book collection of book. Now we have not drafted this. The task was to go and find out each and every ADR institute in country. So what that intern earned was like and follow on each that person says I have so many like and follow to the area institute. So I'm going to ask you how you want to intern, and if it matches the skill, I like to work with people who create with me and not come back and ask me what is my task for today, because that's not what you will have with any of the mediators. um, that would be my answer for now, and it's general for everyone. For all the internship questions.
So, Ami, maybe final question before we get to the presentation on our course on online dispute resolution.
Okay.
So, this is from Nepal, so I thought I would surely take it.
Okay.
As a mediator, how do you manage your finances? Like, I think the question is it a financially viable career option?
That is a good question. So of course, getting your first client is difficult. Now that depend. That's not it's like a startup or having the first client. Yeah, that journey is a bit long. So what I did, the secret, what I did was I started working in the similar fields, which could bring me survival. I teach at a school, which brings me survival, and I teach legal studies because I'm a lawyer. The school was looking for a teacher who's also a lawyer. But as you go ahead, give yourself 3 to 5 years time. You will have good number of cases. If you are mediating well, then word of marketing, you're going to get more cases. So once you get the cases, and then it's up to you. If people need you, you can even charge them whatever is your survival limit. So or luxury limit. So it's up to you. But I would say initially it takes 3 to 5 years to set up a full-time mediation, uh, full-time finance earning from like a mediation process. Is what the tip I received from my professor I'm passing on. If you want to pick up this career and sustain, give yourself 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and I think that seems like a very good time frame. Even at Loctopus, we started generating our first revenues after, I guess, 3 years. So give it 3 years, guys, at least.
Yeah, I got my first case in 2 months. Besides, over whatever we are talking, so I'm surviving. So now, yes, pick up on the other skills where you make yourself available, reachable, make it a proper professional service who people can avail. Tell them that this is the service. When you tell them the benefits of the service, then they might avail. You get, but don't force them with availing. Mediation is good, good, good. No, mediation is a choice, and let them analyze. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, Ami, finally, I think people want your email ID, or do you think they should be contacting you on LinkedIn?
It
Anything?
is better to contact me on LinkedIn than spamming my email box. Otherwise, if you spam, I might not see. That's the thing. LinkedIn, I will ensure to go and check each and every message and reply you. So the best way I don't miss your message is to reach me on LinkedIn or on my Instagram channel.
Right, right. So please find me on LinkedIn. Do contact her. Thanks
Drop
a lot
sharing.
Ami, for the wonderful presentation, for such a beautiful presentation. It inspired me to create better slides actually. And a lot to learn. Me and Mustafa, we were exchanging notes on WhatsApp as you were going about your presentation. We have had a lot to learn. Uh, Thank you everyone for attending. What we are going to do right now is this: the session with Ami is formally over. Uh, we also want to tell you about the online dispute resolution course, which we have built at Loctopus Law School. I think it will be hugely beneficial for all of you who are interested in mediation. I mean, thanks to Corona, I think what we have seen is the future of education, the future of work, the future of even dispute resolution. Maybe online is not the answer to everything, but online is an answer to a large part of it. So if you see yourself in the future as a dispute resolution professional, I think our course on online dispute resolution will greatly benefit you. We have developed it along with some wonderful folks at Sama. Sama is a leader in online dispute resolution in India. Mustafa will take you through, what we have to offer you in the course. what's the syllabus like, what sort of benefits you can get from the course. But I want you to keep this in background that this is going to be the future. Actually, this is the present right now. I mean, lots of disputes are being, even courts are online, mediations are happening online. Ami has been finding, she has been telling me she's finding good softwares to, go through. Uh, Bar Council of India has made the mediation subject compulsory. Some of the best organizations in India, like Vidhi Center for Legal Policy, they have come out with a report on ODR. Agami India is doing some wonderful work on online dispute resolution. So I think this course will take you from this sort of level of interest which you have developed right now to progressing to taking those first few steps towards becoming an online dispute resolution professional. We are getting some great feedback about this webinar. Guys, if you've liked this webinar, I'm sure you love our course as well. I let Mustafa now to tell you the details about the course. Ami, thanks a lot for the presentation. Feel free to stay back and maybe parting words for the yes please.
I'll add a word. So I will stay here and check because I have all my journey, I have learned dispute resolution, conflict resolution, everything. And now that I'm picking up online ways of resolving disputes, and not that we're doing it online now because of COVID. Before this, also, people don't want to sit together in the same room once they are upset. So you really need to pick up on online skills. So I'm going to stay back and I think I'll also join the course
Sure, I mean,
as a student.
courses for free
Also.
if you're
I'm
interested.
going to stay back. Yeah.
Mustafa, over to you now. You are on mute, so you can unmute.
Wow, thank you, Tanuj, and thank you, Ami. In fact, a wonderful session, something I've been really looking forward to also since we decided on having this webinar with you in the first place. It's given me a lot of perspective. So, whatever little that I had learned, I'm myself not a qualified, a certified mediator, or do not claim to know much about alternate dispute resolution processes. But whatever I had learned through, various open source resources while helping the folks at Sama develop this course, I think you've put most of it into perspective for me today. So thanks a lot for that. Now, another online communication skill that we in fact do talk about in our courses also. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for your patience. And on behalf of all of you, also I'd like to thank Ami once again for this really informative session. So and now let's take the next step forward. First, uh, before in anybody's journey to move forward, there are various steps, right? Ami educated us, informed us about the what are the various steps or various the progression of a conflict, perhaps. Now we also need to look at there is a progression of how we want to act on the knowledge that we have just received. We have understood broadly a foundational sense of what mediation and conflict resolution is. We all are very inspired to be a part of this revolution to change the justice system from it being an adversarial system to be a more conciliatory system. All of us have always had those grievances. It's a time for us, in fact, now to be a part of it. So I'll just start my presentation. It's a little up to tell you about the course that we have on online dispute resolution over at Loctopus Law School. So is everyone able to view my screen? If you can just indicate that in the chat box.
Yes, Mustafa, we can see the screen.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sanu. Thank you so much, Ami. So this course at Loctopus Law School was developed with the intent of creating more awareness on ADR processes, which is alternative dispute resolution processes such as mediation, negotiation, and more so with the idea of where are these skills going to be used the most in today's day and age, which where due to COVID and various other reasons, all our services have now started being offered online. All right, and there are various benefits also of offering these services on various technology platforms, right? Earlier you would go for a counseling to your senior from law school, all right, in his physical room. You'd sit down, ask him, okay, what are various opportunities that you can tell us about. Then came about Loctopus, that then on an online platform started giving you all that information, started being that mentor for you. And similarly, we've seen various other services also like that being offered online, and therefore dispute resolution services are going to be the next big thing. In fact, are already the seen as the next service which will definitely have to go online for us to really achieve a particular goal over here. And with that in mind, we decide, okay, let's have a course on online dispute resolution at Octopus Law School. And this wasn't just motivated. Let me, also just give you a sense of why did we decide on having these courses, or in fact, why do we do most of our courses at Octopus Law School? It isn't simply with the intention of, okay, what courses do law students want to learn? Fine, let's flip them into a digital format and make an online course out of it. No, it is not that with which motivates us to develop courses. Rather, we over here at Octopus Law School are trying to build lawyers of tomorrow. We're trying to, do our bit to ensure that a law student of today, or anybody who's a participant or a stakeholder in the judicial process, learns better and the right skills to then effect and create impact tomorrow. And that is why it was natural for us to also promote the discipline of alternative dispute resolution, of online dispute resolution. We are motivated by our mission to enable informed and inspired careers, and we would not be doing it if we misdirect you. So we, did our research. We understood what is legal technology. We realized that a lot of people of our day and age, of our age, are talking about legal tech, ODR, AI, and all, but nobody has a clear sense of what these things are. So that is why we decided we'll take up the mantle. We'll perhaps educate everyone, give a foundational sense of what these things are, so that then they can move forward in their journeys. And therefore, online dispute resolution was one of the first ideas that we wanted to execute, because that would have created most impact for all learners, right? So I think on your screen you can see a small screenshot of a news report. This was reported in various newspapers, and also this is from the Hindu, where the law minister has just declared that 25 lakh cases were heard virtually by courts across country, across physical jurisdictions, or having to face challenges of making physical appearances. Within the pandemic, we were so quick to adopt to all of this that we decide that yes, we will now resolve disputes virtually, and therefore we just shifted the entire infrastructure and started hearing things virtually, right? Started having code hearings virtually. And with that idea in mind, did we realize that yes, online dispute resolution is something that everybody must learn. All platforms, all, the government is pushing for it. ODR is being recognized as the solution to so many of the issues that our legal justice system faces today. There is soon going to be a mediation law in the country. So it just becomes very necessary for a lawyer of tomorrow to know what these things are about. And the good part about it is, with the perhaps onset of the mediation law, there are going to be a lot of opportunities that open up for all of us. So how many of us know about the insolvency and bankruptcy code, right? When the insolvency and bankruptcy code came into force, there was a host of services around it that started being offered. Insolvency resolution professionals, people wanted to upskill and everything. There was a huge demand also at the same time for insolvency resolution professionals in the market. And similarly, once the mediation law is in place, law schools, the BCI has already mandated that mediation be taught as a compulsory subject in law schools. The immediate next step is for there to be a mediation law, which will open up a host of opportunities for alternate dispute resolution professionals or online dispute resolution professionals. So with this idea, did we decide on going ahead and having this course, because there's a need for a trust-based ecosystem. The government and the judiciary, everybody's aggressively promoting it. NITI Aayog has it as it's within the legal or the justice department or the justice initiative of NITI Aayog. Promoting online dispute resolution is one of its primary main priorities right now. So we all know, right? There's a lot of buzz around ODR. A lot of you are also, over the course of the webinar, I realized, are looking to know about opportunities. How do they become a mediator? What accreditations should they get? What are the future prospects and everything? But we must first, take a step back and think about whether do we understand this discipline well or not. Our law schools, unfortunately, haven't until now taught us enough about ADR processes. They are only coming close to teaching us a little about arbitration now, right? So it's up to us to first get a broad understanding of what ODR means, what online dispute resolution is. And that is the very purpose of our course at Loctopus Law School, which is to give everybody a foundational understanding of what online dispute resolution is, to help you understand, to give you or tell you about core skills of an online mediator, of an online arbitrator, of an online case manager, for example, right? So we realize that fine, if I am a mediator, I'll be able to do it online also. But that's something that Ami just clarified, that she's realized that online communication is different, and since all communication is happening online, we must develop that skill to be able to deliver mediation services or ADR services online as well. So keeping all of this in mind, have we structured this course such that we, right from the beginning, you do not have to have any background or any strong understanding of the concepts of ADR. We will prime you basically on what the various ADR processes are, what are the different use cases that you use them in, what are the skills that you need to acquire to be a good online mediator, a good online conciliator, so that we give you enough food for thought and enough knowledge to then take a call by yourself and move forward in your journey to become a resolutionary. So how is this course structured now? After telling you the why for this course, let me just tell you a little about the format and how do we try and deliver this course. At Loctopus Law School, we follow something called a blended approach of learning. Like I said, we do not just simply flip a normal curriculum into an online mode and come and give it to you. We make sure that what does a person need to know to be able to take the next step in their careers or in their professions. We in the blended approach do not just give you online text based modules or recorded video lectures, but we supplement them with live sessions. We realize that it's important for people to keep be engaged in the process, to keep asking questions. We need to respond to as many questions of a learner as possible. For that very reason do we also have live virtual sessions. So this is a month long course. The next batch, which starts from November 15th, will go on until December 15th. You will be given access to the material, to the study material on our portal, courses.loctopus.com. You will have access to text based modules in a PDF format, as well as recorded video lectures, which will be complementing the text based modules. And along with that, you'll have a total of 4 live webinars and classes, one every week, each specifically designed and curated by the experts at SAMA, who are people I'm going to be talking about, the ones who have developed this course and the ones who are championing, in fact, the cause of ODR in the country. So along with those live virtual sessions, you'll also be having a lot of other webinars. Like a lot of our students attended this webinar. So similarly, we'll have other interesting career webinars around how to, build a LinkedIn profile for yourself. How to network and to help you develop a lot of other soft skills here and there. So this is going to be the format in which we learn about online dispute resolution over the course of the during the duration of the course rather. Now let me also just tell you about the people who developed this course, because it's very important for us to know who are we learning from, right? So this course has been developed by people at SAMA. I believe somebody in the chat box did mention about SAMA over here. So I believe some of you already know what SAMA is. SAMA is an organization. It's an online dispute resolution platform. In fact, one of the leading online dispute resolution platforms in the country. All right, which has been co-founded by Akshita Ashok, Pranjal Sinha, and Vikram Kumar. And two of the co-founders, Akshita Ashok and Pranjal Sinha, came together, joined hands with us to develop this course, because they realized that yes, we have a strong demand for people wanting to opt for online dispute resolution. But the next thing that we lack right now is good, qualified, or properly trained online dispute resolution professionals. And that is why they said, yes, Mustafa, yes, Tanuj, will come join hands with you to educate more and more people, to build capacity on the other side, to support the online dispute resolution ecosystem. And then that gave the inception and gave that's what brought about our course into existence. So Akshita, she is the co-founder of SAMA, a certified mediator from ODR, ADR London, and she's trained various government professionals in, online dispute resolution. So has Pranjal. Pranjal is also the co-founder of Sama and a certified mediator. And Pranjal is the youngest recipient of the very prestigious JAMS fellowship, which is a very prestigious fellowship given in the field of mediation. Along with that, we had Dr. Venkatesh Verlu, who is a professor of law, a certified mediator, and has been teaching online dispute resolution at Osmania University for the last couple of years. And we also have a subject matter expert who's there to help you round the clock with your doubts, that any doubts that you have, which you can, post on our discussion forum. So she is somebody who's done her LLM in dispute resolution from Boston University, an an NUJS graduate, and a very passionate individual about dispute resolution. So this very passionate bunch of people came together and developed this course for us. And now I'll also just tell you a little about Sama so that you know about the kind of work that they are doing in the field of online dispute resolution. Like I said, they are people who pioneered the revolution in online dispute resolution in the country. They were also the winners of the EADR challenge by Agami, all right, which is a very prestigious award again in itself. They run the largest Indian mediation week in the country. Along with that, very recently, like I said, everything is moving virtual. During the course of the pandemic, 4 states came and gave them the mandate to host online Lok Adalat on their platform, which again is a very big thing. And there are bigger, huge multinationals who now have become their clients, such as ICICI Bank, OLX, Vedanta, Ulan, and so many other corporates. Because these corporates have realized that we want a faster, a quicker way of resolving disputes with all our customers. All right. And when they have put their mandate behind the idea of online dispute resolution, we know that there is something which is to happen in this field, and all of us must, as lawyers or as dispute resolution professionals, must partake in the same. So that was a bit about Sama, and that was a bit about our course on online dispute resolution. And I hope all of us who are here understand the value of what it means to learn about online dispute resolution at this point of time in our career. Not because not with the insecurity of being left behind, but we know what will be the future of dispute resolution. In fact, is already the present of dispute resolution, and our law schools perhaps aren't preparing us for that. And we need to take the mantle in our hands and say, okay, yes, I will learn a little about it. Exactly what Ami did. She decided to go at it by herself, get the right accreditations, align her skills with what is the need of the hour and what is being required from people who want to resolve their disputes. Not a lawyer who's going to fight their case for them in the various forums, but a person who's really going to help them come out of the situation that they are in, help them resolve this dispute. So I urge all of you who are genuinely interested in learning more about, alternate dispute resolution, being offered on the online platform, which is the next big thing, to visit us on courses.loctopus.com/learn/ODR. And this is only specific to people who've attended this webinar. We are giving out, you can use the code orientation10 while enrolling or signing up for the course, and you'll get a 10% fee waiver until tomorrow for this. So that's about it from my end on online dispute resolution. And I would really like to end this by saying it's great and very encouraging to see young professionals and, in fact, everybody from the legal community sign up for such webinars to learn more and to put faith in the idea of resolving disputes amicably than taking the adversarial approach. So kudos to all of you. And thank you, Tanuj. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Mustafa, for the presentation. Some questions, Mustafa. So Harita is asking, what is the course fee?
All right. So Harita, the course fee is as of now 2100 plus taxes. But if you use this code and sign up by tomorrow, you'll be able to avail a 10% discount on that.
Right. So please use the code orientation10 to avail the discount. And this is only applicable till tomorrow for the people of this webinar, so that this code doesn't get misused. It's anyway being recorded. Rupal is asking if I miss the live classes, will I be able to ask my questions? So Mustafa, usually what are the timings for the classes?
So we make sure that it's convenient for students who have colleges to attend through the day and also for working professionals. That's why we have kept the timings on scheduled the live sessions on Friday post 7 p.m. So the timings are usually from 7 to 8:30 p.m. on Fridays, which are comfortable to attend. And even for those learners who, due to some reason, are not able to attend the sessions, we record all our live sessions and make them available for you on our portal so that you can go back and revisit them. And if you have any questions around that, you can still go ahead and ask it on the discussion forum. So I hope that answers Rupal's question.
Right. Please do check courses.loctopus.com/learn/ODR. You'll get to know the structure of the course in detail. Uh, Feel free to use this code as well to get a discount. So Harita, uh, the live classes, as Mustafa was mentioning in the course structure, so there are 4 live lectures. Each live lecture is around 90 minutes long, and it's on each Friday. Over and above that, of course, you'll have a reading material, you'll have recorded lectures to build upon, your knowledge base, your skill base, and then to answer your doubts and to further build upon what you have read in the reading material, what you have seen or heard in the recorded videos, you have the live lectures to build upon that knowledge. Then you have, of course, as Mustafa was saying, you have the discussion forum. If you have doubts anywhere between the week, you can key in your doubts on the discussion forum. That is answered as well. So will another batch be starting immediately? Yes, the batch will be starting. And Ashwin, I can understand that you have exams. If those exams go for, let's say, 5 to 10 days, then it might be possible for you to do the course in this batch as well. If you can spend a dedicated amount of 2 to 3 hours per week, you will be able to do this course well. But that is a time commitment we require. Okay. Um, but yeah, feel free. I think there will be a next batch as well. So feel free to do it for the next batch. We don't want to pressurize you or push you into registering for this batch only. Uh, Take your time. Patience is a good skill of a mediator and or marketers as well, I think. So don't worry about that. Okay, I think we have one more question. Is there an exam after the course, Karthik? Yes, there is some sort of an assessment. Uh, we insist, like we do not give the certificate if you do not clear the assessment. At the same time, we are liberal with our evaluations because we understand there are lots of young students also who participate in our courses. So we are liberal. We give a second chance as well. So if you don't succeed in the first opportunity, you get a second chance. But then if you don't succeed, then you're not given a certificate. So yes.
However, like we always maintain, you should not sign up for courses for the certificate, but for the actual learnings. And trust me, the courses are also designed with that intent that if you follow through, you'll come out claiming or confident enough about skills for which that course was made. We have had enough evidence on this from our legal research and writing courses, our course on contract drafting and negotiation, our course on some basics of litigation that every learner must know. So that is something that we care about. We are invested in your learning. And yes, like I understand that all of you must feel that, okay, every person says that, but yeah, we invite you to experience that for yourself.
Yeah, and like certificates, as I say, are cherry on the cake, right? So you should do this course for the cake. The course is the cake. Don't spend 2,100 rupees or don't spend 4 weeks of your life on getting the cherry. You'll get the cherry as well, but do the course. Certificates are like cherry on the cake. So yeah. So yes, Priyanka, there will be a second batch. There will be a batch after November 15th as well. Most probably it will start around mid-December and we'll let you know. Do you give grades after evaluation? No, we give color codes actually. We are like Amy is, she's an artistic person. We also try to bring in some art to our evaluation. So we give color codes actually. So the orange color, which is the Loctopus current color, which is also the color of my wall, it's for excellent performance. You have green color, which is, for very good performance. You have yellow, which is okay, fine, well done. Then you have the red, which is you've not cleared it in the first attempt, do it in the second attempt. But see, these assignments are not to judge you, not to evaluate you, but to ensure that you go back with the learnings of the course. So it's just a test. Do you have the skill? Yes, you get a green or an orange or a yellow, and then you can have that confidence. And even we have that confidence, right? Yeah. Feel free to check in. Feel free to check the LinkedIn platform. You have some raw, unedited feedback about our courses. A lot of students share that. Feel free to check it. I mean, coming from my mouth or Mustafa's mouth, of course, he'll be saying good things only. But check LinkedIn for honest, genuine feedback. And yeah, do try out our courses. Cool. I think with that we come to an end. Mustafa, anything else which you want to add?
That's it from my end. Hope to see you all soon.
Yeah, Amis, hope to see you in our course. Hope to see a lot of the attendees today in our courses. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you for listening to us, for giving us the opportunity to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.